Greetings, I'm Chuck Mauldin, and I'm going to paint a demo that was scheduled for Kerrville Art Club, but had to be postponed because of the virus. I was all ready to go, so I figured, well, I'll just try it and see if I can make a video. My subject is going to be cow in the landscape. I love to paint cows. I was born on a 2,000-acre cattle ranch in near Quinlan, Texas, if you know where that is, northeast Texas. And I just love cows in the landscape, particularly Herefords. I know Angus was the big ticket, but Herefords have always been my favorite, and I love the way they look in the sunlight. The demo was originally scheduled for 1 hour, which is really quick, even for me. I like to paint fast. I paint a lot outside, get you in the ability to hone your skills to try to paint pretty fast, but 1 hour is quick. So I will take this my time on this particular demonstration, and then I will speed it up and stuff, because there's nothing worse than sitting around forever watching paint dry. So we'll see. I'll edit it so it's fun to watch, hopefully. Okay. I'm going to paint from a photo. I know painting from life is better, and I do plenty of that, but cows don't hold still, so a photo reference is okay. Here's my original photo. It was taken on Live Oak Street near downtown Fredericksburg. Of course, the photo needs adjustments, which you can deal with later, not when you're out there taking the photo. In this case, I'm adjusting the photo to first off crop it and a lot, make the cow bigger. You can do that in Photoshop Elements, and move the foreground plants a little bit. We'll talk about that more later, but here is the adjusted reference photo for the painting. It's still rather dark, but I'll just leave it at that. Let's talk for a minute about the design of this composition. Here I've outlined the major shapes, and the design consists of large major shapes, which is always a good thing. We've got a foreground, middle ground trees, and then the distant hill, and of course the center of interest, the cow. So they make a pretty good pattern. The cow lines up nicely with the rule of thirds, being at an intersection there, sweet spot for a center of interest. And the last comment about the design is I am going to use a circular armature. I like armatures. They're a common way of holding the composition together and helping move the eye around the picture. Here is my canvas. It's Claessens Linen number 29. This linen number 29 has a really rough texture, which I like, and a little different. The canvas has, you might notice, it's got some grid lines I put on. That helps with drawing placement of everything onto the canvas from the photo. You grid it however you want, but just be sure to do the same way on the photo. The canvas is toned with Gamblin Fast Matte oil paint. This is an alkyd-based paint that dries very fast. If you tone it the night before, it can be dry and not affect any of the paint coming on next. It's always customary to discuss one's palette, so here it is. I use Utrecht white, which is a mixture of titanium and zinc white. Next is Cad Yellow Light. This is the Utrecht brand. It's the warm yellow. That term Cad Yellow Light can be cooler in some other brands. Cadmium Orange, Quinacridone Red, Viridian, Ultramarine Blue, Dioxazine Purple, and then two earth colors, Yellow Ochre and the Utrecht Burnt Sienna, which is very similar to the Gamblin Transparent Earth Red. This painting will be done with my usual method, which is first to start and draw the major shapes in paint. I think it's important to use paint instead of pencil drawing. Pencil drawing can get too complicated, too detailed for this stage of the painting. Next, we'll block in shadows and darks with thin paint, and then we will add the lights as the last step, which will be with thicker paint. So that's about it. So let's get going. As you can see, we've now transferred the main shapes of the design, so the initial drawing is complete and we're ready to start putting in the shadows and the darks. We'll start with the very darkest dark, which is right there on that cow. So we basically blocked in the large shadow masses with trying to keep a little bit of variation in color within each value. Note how the back hill, I've decided to just put in an underpainting. There'll be a lot of lights to come back on top of that to render that hill. We'll do that next. We're in the middle of putting in the lights. As you can see, I've been working from the darkest of the lights back on the hill to the next lightest lights on the tree line, and now it's time for the cow. Things are starting to shape up now, particularly having that focal point in with the cow. We're on the home stretch. We'll get to the foreground next, and then finally the lightest of the lights will be the sky. These little plants are an important design element. Something has to be done to break up this bottom horizontal band across the foreground. The placement of the plants is guided, in this case, by the circular armature. Painting the edge between the sky and an area with darker, wet paint, like the hill in this case, is made a little easier by using a fan brush. The fan only holds a small amount of paint, so it is easily wiped clean again and again so you don't contaminate the sky color. Ta-da! How about that? Here is the final image after a few minor tweaks on the next day. After this dries a bit, I'll sign it, and then after it's totally dry to the touch, I'll varnish it with Liquitex Soluvar. I use a mixture of 4 parts gloss to 1 part matte to impart the sheen that I like. Well, that's it, my friends. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and get painting.